Is it possible to make completely original content that draws no inspiration from anything else? I don't know, but what we know even less about is what it will really be like when we send humans to Mars. Welcome to episode 5 of Alternative Jargon. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. How's everyone doing out there? Hopefully good. It's been a little while. And I am not going to make any kind of statement about any sort of regular podcast schedule because I think every single episode I've ever made of this podcast, I either start it off or I finish it by saying, I think I'm going to start a regular schedule. Let's do a weekly show. Let's do bi-weekly, tri-weekly. Don't even get me started on quad weekly. So it's been, I'm recording this June 30th, which means it'll probably actually release in about 5 months. But if we go from today, it's been 4.5 months. So by the time this comes out, it'll probably be about 5 months since the last episode. But nonetheless, we're here, we're doing it. It's episode 5. Now today we've got some really fun topics to discuss. Honestly, the main reason why I guess I haven't made podcasts in a while is one, because it does take more time than you think. And I had a really busy semester in college. But, it's really hard to think of stuff to talk about. And I thought about having other people on to talk about stuff. But, it is what it is. It's just a fun little thing to do. So today we're going to talk about original content. And we're going to talk about life on Mars. So what is original content exactly? Oh, by the way, before we actually dive into the topics, I'd like to talk about the upgraded budget of the show. If you're watching on YouTube, which, by the way, that's the best place to watch the show. It's got high quality video. It's got pictures that will pop up on the screen of things that I'm talking about. If you really want to get the full experience, I highly recommend you watch on YouTube. It's also, if you want to leave comments, crap like that, for the 5 people that will watch this, have a discussion in the comments. So upgraded camera, new camera. We got a new camera, new tripod. That's very exciting. Very exciting upgrades to the show. So go watch on YouTube. But what is original content? Now, original content, in my opinion, is content that I would say draws almost no inspiration from anything else done before. And if it does draw inspiration from stuff done before, whether it be movies or TV or art or music, it puts its own twist on it so that it's not just the same thing. And the question really is, today's day and age, is it possible to make completely original content that draws no inspiration from anything but the creator's own thoughts? Is that possible? Now, basically everything that's made in the realm of media or literature or anything else draws inspiration from something else. You think about drawing inspiration from past content. You think about movies or songs, drawing inspiration from past content for a movie would be a sequel or a reboot. Drawing inspiration from past content for songs would be sampling a song. Another thing that can draw a lot of inspiration for people, religion, whether you're religious or not. So many metaphors in movies, so many metaphors in literature about religion. It seems like, every other classic movie where there's an underlying heavy theme has something to do with religion or moral purpose or some kind of philosophical thing. So, is your story drawing inspiration from a religious or moral perspective? Life experience, that includes others. When I wrote this down on my notes, I was thinking about the first thing that came to mind with life experience and inspiration was, I would say, Star Wars, as dumb as it sounds. But in the original Star Wars trilogy, the evil empire seems original, and then you realize, oh, hey, these guys are just Nazis. They look like Nazis, they talk like Nazis. They're basically space Nazis. So, that's a life experience that not a lot of people today went through, but World War II, obviously. And then nature is another thing that you can draw inspiration from. So, like I said, this day and age, it's even harder to sort of have, I guess you'd call it, organic inspiration, just because everything is so saturated. I mean, everyone has their own show. There's a million TV channels to choose from. There's YouTube, there's TikTok, all the social media. I mean, it's so redundant to say, oh, there's so much stuff being put out. There's 800,000 minutes of YouTube uploaded, or video uploaded to YouTube every other second, whatever the statistic is. But seriously, I mean, how do you expect to have a successful career, I guess, in the media industry today? Like, how do you separate yourself? It's really harder than ever. I mean, you can go to school, get an internship, and settle into a TV news role. There's a million jobs to do in media. You can write for the local newspaper, whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. But in terms of, okay, I want to get out there and, really make something interesting. How do you do that? And it's tough. And it's the cool thing about it is that now that it's so hard to innovate and to separate yourself in media, you're really seeing people's creativity come to life a lot more. And you're seeing so much stuff that you never would have even thought about that people make, and really cool, innovative ways to create new media or different media, which is cool, but definitely is harder than ever. Like, for example, when I was thinking about talking about this topic for the podcast, I was like, well, someone's probably already talked about that. Why should I do that? If it's, that's another thing that is tough. I'm a media major in college, and I love to make stuff. I love to make videos and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm doing a podcast for fun right now, but it's really hard to, I'll be brainstorming an idea for something, like a video, a podcast topic, and then I'll be scrolling through TikTok, and I will see somebody talking about the exact thing or making the exact type of video that I wanted to do. And it just, it sucks, because it's like, okay, do I even have a single original thought about stuff to do, stuff to make? Because, you put something out there these days, and you'll get 100 comments that say, oh, so-and-so did this. Oh, you copied so-and-so. Oh, post-credit. And it's like, okay, I did not know that. How do you come up with something original when there's so many people doing so much stuff? So, I have a lot of ideas in my head, like stuff I want to do and make. For this, my past semester at college, I had to make a 30-minute short film, and everyone in my class, you had to do it all by yourself. You had to write a whole script. You had to film everything, edit everything. It was a huge project. 30 minutes is a lot longer than you think, but where was I going with that? Yeah, like I really enjoyed making that, and I would really enjoy making other stuff, but it really just stunts my like creativity, I guess, when it feels like everything I would try to do has already either been done or is in the process of being done by somebody who would probably do it better than me. So yeah, it is tough, but another thing is like in movies, think about like some of the biggest plot twists you've ever seen in a movie. It's so difficult to like shock an audience. It is so hard to like legitimately make someone like to stun somebody nowadays. Everything's been done already. Okay. You want to talk about, 20 years ago, at the end of your movie, you say, it was all a dream. The audience would have loaded their pants. Okay. Theater 5 would need automatic cleanup immediately because the theater would implode. All right. You put it was all a dream at the end. His alarm goes off 2.5 hours into the movie. Wake up, go to school. Crap. Everything was a dream. All right. Would have caught everyone off guard. Nowadays, that's like a joke. To say, it was all a dream. That is a complete joke nowadays to use that ending. And if you use that nowadays, everyone watching whatever it was would probably just take a huge disappointed sigh and probably want a refund for their ticket if it was a movie. So how do you make a plot twist nowadays? I mean, how do you do it? It is so hard. Everything's been done. I think about it like fashion too. Like fashion, I mean, we've done everything. What is there left to do? Okay, at this point, when was the last time there was an era of fashion that was actually original? And I guess by fashion, I mean your everyday, like someone walking down the street in New York City, American, When was the last time we had a unique thing? Okay, for the longest time, the late 19th, early 20th century, all the dudes were wearing suits, all the women were wearing dresses, stuff like that. And then the 20th century really changed everything. You think about 60s fashion, 70s fashion, 80s, 90s, 2000s. And then I feel like you get to like the 2010s and stuff starts to just recycle. I'm not like I don't have a subscription to Vogue. I don't know fashion like that or anything, but I can't think offhand of anything fashionable from the last 10 years that wasn't just something that was done before that got recirculated into the trends. But yeah, I mean, we've reached a point where everything's been done, I guess. Vsauce made an interesting video a long time ago, but it's still a video I think about a lot in regards to this topic about if we will ever run out of new music. And in the video, he talks about, it seems like there should be an infinite amount of new music to make. I mean, you can use the hundreds of thousands of words in every language for the lyrics, and you can use all these different beats and all these different tempos to the song. But technically, the amount of music that could ever be made is not an infinite number. At some point, now this is just completely hypothetical, but at some point you would technically run out of music to make because humans can only hear a certain range of tones and stuff like that he talks about. So yeah, at some point every single beat with every single instrument would be done with every single lyric. And the question is, could that ever happen to things like movies or TV or anything else. I mean, how many masked singing, lip syncing shows do we have now? Okay. How many times can we, put Nick Cannon in a big costume and have him sing something? How many times can we bring the washed up NFL players and washed up sitcom stars and bring them on stage and interview them about something from 30 years ago, or have them do Dancing with the Stars? I mean, when do we run out of stuff to do? It's exhausting. It's very exhausting. When do we just say, all right, let's just shut the whole industry down for a few years before we can have someone write something original? So, that's just something to think about. Do we just give up? Do we just stop making stuff? What do we do? I don't know. Going back to the whole music thing, you've got, sampling, stuff like that. That's definitely true in TV and art and stuff like that, And I'd like to mention art a lot in this too. I'll get to art in a little bit, but mainly talking about TV and movies, with the whole how do you shock your audience thing. And I mean, going back to YouTube and stuff, how many YouTube channels produce videos that are like almost the same? Think about it. How many YouTube channels make content or make videos that are like nothing else on the entire platform? Okay, you look up iPhone whatever number review or iPhone unboxing or whatever. You're going to have like 3 million videos pop up from, thousands of different channels. What else is there to really do? And I can't really name offhand a channel that comes to my mind that makes stuff that no one else does. Not to an exact degree. And this is just one of those things where, by definition, original content, like completely original content, is stuff that draws no inspiration from anything, but that's basically impossible, and I'll get to that in a minute. But with YouTube, one of the examples I have is like Casey Neistat. Now, if you don't know Casey Neistat, he technically still is a YouTuber, I guess, but he was a really big vlogging YouTuber back in like 2015 through 2017. Now, vlogging is something that got really popular around that time in the 2010s, and there were thousands upon thousands of people doing it. But Casey Neistat did it in a way that no one had really seen before. He made it look like a movie, edited in a really unique way. It was really fun to watch. Usually vlogging was someone walking around holding a camera, doing generic stuff, or doing something fun. But I never really found him that fun to watch, because, I don't know. Unless it's something really cool that you're doing, I don't really care what you did today. I don't want to see you walk to Starbucks and order a coffee and then, walk around with it. I don't know. That's what a lot of it was, I feel like. But Casey Neistat really did it different, made it really good. If you haven't heard of him, go check out his videos. In my opinion, they're some of the most rewatchable videos on YouTube. Always fun to watch. But now that is somebody who sort of, I would say, revolutionized what it means to vlog, I guess. And with that being said, if you go by the dictionary definition of original content, he still was not making original content. And that's a supercharged OCD version of original content when I say that. Obviously, he was making, original stuff. It's not like he was copying anybody. But what I mean is, he was vlogging, and so were thousands of other people. He was still using the exact same, medium. as everyone else. And for that reason, it's technically not original content. Now, I have a theory when it comes to this supercharged OCD version of the term original content, meaning that you draw no inspiration from anything. And that theory deals with modern art. Now, by modern art, I mean the stuff where it's like a couple of shapes on a canvas or something, and it sells for like $30 million. Now, is that money laundering? Probably. But I think there's also a lot of these modern artist people where they're going for stuff that's so abstract that it turns out to be just like shapes or generic colors on a, it's nothing. It's nothing. And my theory about that type of art is that these artists are trying so hard to create organic, original content, supercharged OCD organic content, be it, that's not based in anything ever done before, that they end up with generic shapes and boring canvases. Now, think about all the art that was done previously, like the most famous artists, like Leonardo da Vinci, stuff like that. A lot of that stuff was like inspired by religion and inspired by whatever was going on during that time period. And that art is like looked upon as like the holy grail of art. And I think today it's like, okay, well, all that stuff has been done by all those people, hundreds of years ago. And so now people are just like, all right, what can I do to make something that no one's made before? Literally no one. I can't do portraits of famous people. Those creepy ones where the eyes follow you in Scooby-Doo. I can't do a big scene of a battlefield. That's been done. I can't do anything religious. That's been done. So what do? They look for something completely original, completely no inspiration from anything else but themselves, and they end up with shapes on a canvas. That's my theory. And I've kind of gone through the process of wanting to make something so original because I don't like to steal stuff from other people, and I like to, like, I guess, do things on my own as much as I can. And then it's like, well, you're just stagnant. You have nothing to do. Whenever you make stuff, you have to draw inspiration from somewhere, or you get nowhere because everything's been done already. But yeah, I really, I like things that have little to no tie to previously done things. I really like movies that are standalone stories, not sequels, not part of a series, not a reboot. Movies that are one story in one movie, and you watch it for 2 hours and it's done. I really like Christopher Nolan, because aside from like the Dark Knight trilogy, all his movies are like their own story. You don't need to watch, 8,000 hours of Disney Plus to like get caught up on who's in the multiverse and who died and came back to life by Thanos and then came back and then died again and then went to another like, come on, dude. Don't get me started on like the MCU, dude. I could rant about that crap all day, but I like songs and stuff that are not sampled from other music. Like, those songs are fun. The sampled songs, I love them. But it's also cool, like, do something new that hasn't been done yet. Let me hear that stuff too. That's cool. Or make it so not sounding like the original song that I don't even realize it's sampled. Whichever, But, these things that are completely original are hard to produce, and I guess hard to really please people. Everyone probably thinks that modern art, that super abstract stuff, is dumb. So, you need some kind of inspiration. But yeah, that's my theory about modern art. I think, and I'm not trying to, throw shade at all these artists, because I understand if my theory was correct, I understand where they're coming from. They want to be completely set free from the work of others, and they want to create something on their own organically, but that's almost impossible without making something completely generic and boring. But if you want to launder money, that's a good way to go. But that will about wrap up the original content section of this show. I would like to transition into talking about life on Mars. Now, life on Mars, once thought to be, every 5-year-old's dream. They say, oh, someday we'll live on Mars, People in the 50s, when they were watching, Sputnik go up in the sky, were probably like, wow, someday, we'll go to Mars. It's crazy. And now that it's actually here, people are not as happy about it as we may have once thought they would be. Life on Mars and the idea and the plan to go there by an unnamed richest man in the world, it's a lot more controversial than you would think it would be. Let's go freaking land a rocket on another planet. How cool is that? But it's received a lot of backlash. A lot of people saying that it shouldn't be the highest priority. But in any case, this is not a discussion about that today. I think one thing that has been completely overlooked about this whole plan to land on Mars and to set up shop there is, will the people who inevitably live on Mars become extremely different than the people who currently live on Earth? And this question stems from the theory, I guess, that humans are, obviously humans are native to Earth. According to 99% of people, don't Mormons think that we came from another planet? Is that Mormons? I'm intrigued. I need to know this. I think it's Mormons. I don't know. I could be completely slandering Mormons, and what their views are, but I thought it was Mormons that believe that humans originally lived on another planet. I don't know. I don't have many viewers in Utah, so we should be good. But obviously humans originated on Earth. And would humans be the same humans if they lived on another planet for a few generations? How would people adapt and evolve to live on a planet with basically no water or plants, with a different temperature, different setting, different everything? And I feel like that would almost be like an experiment, not one that I would want to be a part of. So, would people who live on Mars be able to actually relate to Earth humans after a few generations? Because think about it. The first people that would fly to Mars would know everything there is to know about Earth, and they'd go to Mars, they'd settle down, and they'd say, all right, here we are. Those people would have kids on Mars. Those kids would only ever know Mars. How weird is that? I mean, that's when you got to wrap your head around, because it's so weird to think that literally everything that's ever happened has happened on Earth. Everything, every single war, every single person, every single religious view is all right here. There's never been another place we've lived, And what would it be like for those people to live on another planet? does living on Earth make humans what they are? And would living on another planet eventually change people's physical characteristics, their morals, their values, and their thought processes? How much, not only physically, I think obviously people would physically change after living on Mars for a few generations, or a few hundred or a few thousand years, because look at humans. People have different skin tones based on how close to the equator they are and the climate. People have different heights based on where they live. There's all this weird genetic stuff that goes on and changes people physically just because of where they're located. So obviously, people on Mars would eventually be physically different than people on Earth. But would that also change the way they think? There's, is there even oxygen on Mars? I don't know. But it's a completely different atmospheric makeup of gases. There's no plants. There's nothing there. It's a rock, So how much of, would those people just go crazy? Would they go crazy? Would they realize, hey, I'm on a big rock. This is not my real home. And if that did happen, how long would that take? Would the first generation of people that settle down there eventually just go wacko? Because I feel like people on Mars are going to go wacko. If you tell me that people on Mars are just going to settle down and be happy, I don't believe you. Okay, I'm not opposed to going to Mars. I think it's cool. Let's go to Mars, whatever. I'm pretty neutral on it. But if you want to convince me that there's going to be no negative downsides to people living on Mars, I think you're full of crap. Because I think, honestly, that I don't think those people are going to function right. I think they're going to go insane. I think something crazy is going to happen if we do eventually settle down on Mars. But, how would they not be depressed? There's nothing to do on Mars. There's nothing to do. I don't care if you set up your little community of futuristic-looking domes with a Tesla logo on it. Whatever. There's nothing there. What do? You wake up, eat your rations, go to the interplanetary fitness center, listen to Joe Rogan, and then go to sleep? What would people do on Mars? You'd have to be so depressed. What do you do? What do you do on Mars? I don't know. And the other thing I think about is what type of person would ever actually want to live on Mars? Who wants to go to Mars? You couldn't pay me $10 billion to go to Mars. And why would you? Because what's that money going to do you there? All right, until Amazon Prime can launch rockets to Mars for same-day shipping, your money means nothing there. I mean, how are they going to get people together who actually want to go to Mars? Now, obviously, there's people that are just, I don't know. I don't want to call them weird. I don't want to call them crazy, but I can't put myself in the shoes of saying, you know what, I'm going to sign up to go to Mars. Leave everything behind. Leave my home. Leave my family. You're never coming back. You will never walk down the street of your town. You'll never do anything earthly ever again. I don't know why you would want to go to Mars, How depressing would the rocket ride to Mars be? All right, as the Earth looms smaller and smaller in the distance, it slowly becomes a white orb, and then you crash into a big rock, and your Starlink in your brain goes off, and Mr. Musk tells you to start breaking out the equipment to set up your camp. I mean, what? Who in their right mind would want to do that, man? I don't know. I do not know. But, I think that's intriguing to think about, and I think that's something that's completely overlooked. All right, we've had the Mars rover. Yeah, it sings happy birthday to itself, and yeah, it's alone. How depressing. But it's a robot. All right, what human is actually gonna want to live on Mars? And how long would it last before they get super depressed and don't want to live on Mars anymore and realize, you know what? I can't go to Starbucks now. I am on Mars. There is no Domino's pizza here. All those McPoints I saved up in my McDonald's app can't even get me a Big Mac out here. How long would it take? I don't know. But I do know how long this took. We're at the 37-minute mark, around there somewhere. So I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed making it. I love delving into these topics. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you watched on YouTube in the new high-quality camera. Not in 4K. I can't shoot 4K. We just did 1080p because I don't want my file size to be 15 terabytes. So hope that's acceptable, but I really appreciate everyone who listened. I hope you enjoyed. Send me a comment if you liked it. Let me know if you think people could live on Mars. I love when people listen to my podcast and then text me about the topics, because that's really cool. Half the reason I make this is just because I like to have conversations. So anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next episode.